Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
What's going on, everybody? We are now live here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. We're also live over on Twitch, and we're also live over on Kick. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. It is now time for another edition of Something About Dynamite here on the channel and all the other spots where you can watch this as well. I hope all of you are having a good day. I hope you all are looking forward to your weekend and all that fun stuff. Yeah, cold as hell out here. But what's going on, everyone? It is me. It is Steve. I'm back at it again here. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below. Give this a big old thumbs up. Share it through social media and all that fun stuff. It does help out the channel. And yeah, and the old algorithm, and people can find the channel and all that other stuff. And it's a win-win, you know. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm here to talk about AEW Dynamite from last night. Well, my bad. Today is January the 15th, 2026. I am here to talk about the January 14th edition of AEW Dynamite here on the channel. And before I get into all the stuff that happened on Dynamite, I do have to talk about the news that broke yesterday, literally as I was going to sleep. Yeah, the news came out of Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs, who as of midnight as of midnight of today, right? So it's official, yeah, as of early Thursday morning, he is officially a free agent. He left his contract expired at midnight, right? So with AEW. And according to Fightful Select, he is expected to sign with WWE. And now also the word going around is that Tony Khan did offer a very good amount of money for him to stay, and he chose not to. He chose to test, the market, see what the water is like. And I think, to be honest with you, that's a very, very respectable decision. Now, I'll be honest with you. Powerhouse Hobbs, I've always said, had a unique look to him. I always found him entertaining for the most part. It's just that unfortunately, he was never gonna be the guy in AEW. Bottom line, like Tony, we already know Tony has his preference of what he likes in a wrestler. This has been established for a long time. And as good as Powerhouse Hobbs looks physically, right to the eye, the reality is Powerhouse Hobbs is not going to give you a 5-star classic match. This is not going to happen. Okay. That being said, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Now, the word is going around that, it is WWE. WWE is going to grab him, right? And not for nothing, he will shine in WWE. I'm not saying they're going to make this guy the world champion within a year. I think for a lot of people, I feel like that's like the expectation off the rip, in the sense of like, you got these folks, right? Like the sickos. Okay, let's be honest. The sickos out there right now, they're probably right now calling him a traitor, whatever the fuck it may be, because I'm sure it's happening. There's a lot of fans out there right now who are not happy that Powerhouse Hobbs did not resign. There's a lot of people out there who are upset. They're calling him a traitor, a turncoat. You're going to the enemy. No, he's just going to test himself, see where he's at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure also, if you're Powerhouse, right, you've seen the people that were in AEW that left to go, to the other side Cody, Punk, Mariah May, right? Jade Cargill, Ricky, yeah, damn Ricky. Potentially Jericho. We don't know. Chris Jericho is also in discussions of returning back to WWE. You know, um, the list goes on, right? But those are some of the key names that were in AEW and then went to WWE. And a lot of them are doing good. Like Cody is the face of the company. Ricky Saint is involved in the NXT title picture right now. Jade Cargill is the women's world champion right now. The women's world champion. Oh, I forgot to mention also Penta, Ray Phoenix, right? They're featured on television on a weekly basis. Like you get the idea, right? He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I do think for Powerhouse, though, let him be in NXT probably for a couple of months, and then let's send him to the main roster. But dude is gonna be a star. There is no doubt about it. Dude is still young. He can still go, right? And he is going to suit that WWE style. It's gonna suit him well, in my opinion. I don't know how y'all may feel about it. Let me know in the chat. Where do you guys stand with all this? Where do you guys view him? Do you view him as someone who's doing a good, business decision, right? Because technically, yeah, he is taking now less money because Tony Khan threw him the bag, literally threw him, like the wheelbarrow with full of money, literally. And Powerhouse said no. So he's taking this risk, if you will. He's taking this chance on himself. When you think about it, right?
That risky.
He's taking that risky right now to go to WWE. Potentially, again, we don't even know, right? For all we know, homie could be wrestling on the independents, right? For a minute here. Now, it is to my understanding that last night they taped Collision. Not that it matters, but still,
Hashtag AEW Collision. Saturday. Ain't nobody watching that. Come on.
Not that it matters, right? But he did defend the trios championships, the trios titles with Samoa Joe and Katsuyori Shibata against Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight of Jet Speed, along with Hangman Adam Page. And spoiler, again, not that it matters, Powerhouse Hobbs and the Ops lost. So for all we know, look, he's going to go out there, explore the independent, which probably if I was him, that's probably what I would do. But at the same time, if you're trying to make the same kind of money you were making in AEW, yeah, go to WWE. Go to WWE. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I wish him nothing but the best. I've happened to have met Powerhouse Hobbs the morning of Full Gear 2024. It was at Prudential Center, and early that day, I went to the gym. Yeah, I know it's hard to imagine, right? Someone like me going to the gym. Yeah, but I went to the gym, and I show up, and I'm just doing my usual warm up, right, when I'm at the gym, and who do I happen to see just chilling there by the was it by the squat rack? Yeah, it was Powerhouse Hobbs. And now look, I didn't want to be that guy because I'm sure we've all seen that person, right? If they see a wrestler at the gym, at a restaurant or at an airport or at the hotel lobby, right? They have the tendency to walk up with their mobile device, right? And literally have the camera, right? Literally in their fucking face like this, like literally, in their face like this, like asking for a selfie. They do that. Or if not, what they'll do is they'll wait outside the venue once the show is over, right? They'll wait outside the venue to get a picture, a selfie, like I just displayed, right, as an example, right? And when that it doesn't happen, they get upset. When the wrestler says no, they get angry. Be that as it may, So he's at the gym, and as we were leaving and stuff like that, he was approaching and I was approaching. Again, we were about to approach each other and stuff. And I'm like, hey man, I've seen you on TV. I'm a fan of what you do. And I cannot wait to see what the new year brings to you. At the time, it was 2020. At the time, it was 2024, going into 2025. Okay. Uh, how's AEW these days? I haven't watched in a minute. It's been here and there, but I will tell you what though, Chief. Um, stick around. Stick around. So where was I? Yeah, so I told him, hey man, I'm a fan of what you're doing, man. I cannot wait to see what 2025 brings you. And then I asked for a picture. Keep in mind, when I say this, I didn't interrupt his workout. I did not interrupt what the hell he was doing. Keep that in mind. Okay. And I took a picture with him. I took a picture, right? So that was cool. Again, cool dude, man. Overall, I wish him nothing but the best. I just felt like in AEW, he was never gonna be that guy. Look, he's a former TNT champion, a former was it trios champion, right? And he was part of Team Taz, and then just been everywhere. Book of Hobbs, right? But I think he's also had injuries in the past. But I do think again, him going to WWE, if that is the case, good for him. Good for him. Now, let's get into exactly, Chief. Hobbs is a very cool dude. He's cool. He met him at WrestleCon, down to earth, dude. He is very down to earth. Um, but yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat. What your take on Powerhouse Hobbs leaving AEW to go to WWE, or if not, let me know in the comments as this becomes a video at the end, or if not, let me know on social media at Heel Steven. Also, it was announced yesterday as Dynamite was happening, and then they mentioned it. They posted the graphic and everything. AEW couldn't wait. AEW could not wait. But they announced that the Rascalz, TNA, the former TNA group, the Rascalz, have signed with AEW. They even posted this graphic during Dynamite. The Rascalz coming soon to AEW. Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, Myron Reed, and Desmond Xavier, the former Wesley. They're all making their way to they're all in AEW now. Now, let me just be clear on something. I think overall, good for them. Good for them. Talented group, right? Here's my question. Okay, this is my only thing. You signed 4 guys. Yes, talented. Don't get me wrong. They are talented. Let me be clear on this. That do the exact stuff, the exact same stuff, the exact same shit that 85% of your rosters are already doing. As far as ring maneuvers and all that stuff. It's the exact same thing. I'm happy for them. I am happy. But at the same time, I'm really hoping that Tony does something with them. Does something. Make me care. Because the last thing I want to see is see these guys. Look, they're going to probably get the little push right now once they show up on TV, right? Maybe 2 of them will challenge for the tag titles eventually. And then eventually they get put in Ring of Honor. Or they get put on Collision. And be just another former TNA act that left TNA to go to AEW, who were good in TNA, who were like treated with respect and all that stuff, just to be just chilling in the back in AEW. What the fuck? The Rascalz, huh? TNA lost him. The DK rolled out the bench, truck full of cash. Who knows? Maybe, man. Maybe just. But speaking of TNA, real quick. Speaking of TNA, we are watching Dynamite on AMC. Today is the debut episode of Dynamite on AMC. And if you don't know, AJ Styles will be there tonight. So if you are a channel member, we are watching like a family. We are watching like a family. If you are a channel member, it's only $2.99, and you get to watch Impact on AMC tonight. It's the debut episode on AMC. It's also the return of AJ Styles, and it's also the main event. Frankie Kazarian defending the TNA World Championship against Mike Santana. Two guys from AEW who also left AEW back in the day. I don't know if y'all remember that or not, but be that as it may, like you look at the roster, look all the guys who were in TNA who left, all the men and women who were in TNA went to AEW, right? You know, you have the Rascalz, right? All four of them. Josh Alexander, who was a former world champion, right, was having main events on Impact back in the day, right? Jake something now is Jake Doyle. Deanna Purrazzo, was it Taya Valkyrie, right? Brian Cage was another one. Again, obviously, oh my goodness, Kevin Knight, right? Mike Bailey. But even though those two right now, they're kind of in the mix because they're in the tag team scene and consider what's going to happen later tomorrow or Saturday. But you kind of get the idea. A good chunk of them are not doing anything. A good chunk of them. And it's frustrating. Like someone like Deanna Purrazzo, who's amazing, who we know how good she is. Yeah, granted, she's the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Champion. That's the equivalent of getting a fucking toy in your toy in your fucking Happy Meal, you know? But be that as it may, you know, my only issue is I just hope they're not what I just mentioned. I hope that's not the case, you know, but we'll see. Look, good for them. Congrats. I just think it's kind of funny, crazy that Tony Khan is busting out these big signings from TNA talents just when TNA in literally an hour or so debut on AMC. Just something I just wanted to point out. All right, guys, let's get into this review because I do want to get you guys out of here just in time to watch TNA on AMC Plus. Again, if you are a channel member, you get to watch with us here on the channel. We're not going to be live, but we'll be watching like a family. We'll be watching like a family. If you want to join, it's only $2.99 a month. Hit that join button that you see next to the subscribe button. All righty. With that being said, let's get into Dynamite, okay? I thought Dynamite as a whole, it was all right. I'll be honest with you. I thought the opening match and the main event was what you should go back and rewatch out of this show. Everything else just felt like, all right, there it is for the sake of just being there. But also, what you got to see is that the world champion, right, who is MJF, let's just tell it like it is, has a big target on his back by 3 former world champions. Also, before I get into more stuff about AEW, by Dynamite, I just want to point this out too. AEW just announced yesterday on their social media that 3 individuals from CMLL are now under dual contract. So AEW has signed Persephone, who is also signed to CMLL. So she now has a dual contract. Also joining her in this is Máscara Dorada, who also has a dual contract now. I believe he defeated Claudio in the Continental Classic a couple of months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And also joining them, he is from the Don Callis family, the one, the only Hechi Cero. Hechicero. Yeah. There you go. They're all elite. Good for them. I mean, look, you're losing Powerhouse Hobbs, so you got to get more people in. Again, just like with the Rascalz, I hope Tony does something with these folks. Make me care. I really do hope that. I really, really do. Okay. Anyway, I thought Dynamite, like I mentioned before, it was all right. just again, it was the opening match for me, and then that main event. And then everything else just felt in between, like I mentioned. But yes, MJF does have now 3 people who are gunning for his world title, right? All 3 men are former world champions. We'll get into all that stuff. We'll get into that. But let me know your thoughts if you watch Dynamite. What did you like from the show? What did you not like from the show as well? So the show was live last night from, let me see here. They were live at the Arizona Financial Theater in Phoenix, Arizona. There are moments when you're watching the show that the camera looked like, hey, they look like they got, more than that in the building. It felt like they had like just a visual. It looked like they had like 10,000 people in there. But be that as it may, that wasn't the case. So the show opens up and you find out that Samoa Joe placed a bounty on Adam Page, someone to take him out, take out the Hangman. And who answers the challenge? Who answers this bounty, right? You would think, right? Someone, with meaning, someone that we've seen on TV, right? Someone, like in the Don Callis family. Fuck it. Let it be someone from the Don Callis family. No, instead, it's none other than Brian Keith. Remember the learning tree? Hi, guys. Yeah, that Brian Keith, the bad apple, or the rotten apple, whatever he's calling himself, right? You mean to tell me Chris Jericho could have bring these 2 guys with him to WWE? They could have fit in a suitcase, Big Bill and Brian Keith. Like, say it ain't so, He's the one who answers the challenge. But we do get our first match. We get Darby Allin versus Pac. Now, this match, for Darby Allin is the fact that, he's beaten everyone from the Death Riders except Pac. That's the one guy he hasn't beaten. That's the one thing that has not helped him sleep at night. It's fucking with him mentally and all that shit. He needs to get a win over Pac. He needs to beat Pac, right? So he can move on, right? We saw what happened. Pac didn't want to give him the match. Darby threatened to break his ankle last week. And obviously now Pac accepted, and here we are. We had the match, and the match had more time on the outside than it did the inside, the ring. Cancel. There we go. There's a moment for a good chunk of the match, right? They were brawling outside the ring. The match didn't even start yet, and they're brawling on the outside. They're going through the crowd, right? And there's a moment in the match where Darby does a coffin drop. I think off of like a barrier, off of like one of the guardrails and shit, onto Pac, right in the crowd. And look, I'm sure if you're there, you're able to see something of it, right? But because I'm watching at home, and for whatever reason, the people who work production did not know how to work the lights. You did not get to see the full visual of him doing it. It was all almost pitch dark. It's like, God, we couldn't get some light on this. We couldn't, show this. Maybe you put this in your video packages, right? But no. And they were brawling. They're going all over the place, right? There's a moment where Pac does like a belly to belly onto Darby with the steel steps on the outside. Darby's back goes into the steel steps. The visual just looks sickening, right? And mind you, while this is happening, they did not once hit the ring. The match hasn't officially started. And then the match begins, right? They're going back and forth in the ring. And then somewhere along the way, Pac hurts his ankle. And Darby took advantage. Darby took advantage of all this. And he proceeds to just go off on Pac. And eventually he makes Pac tap out, makes him tap out. So he finally can say that he's beat all the Death Riders. He's beaten all the members of the Death Riders. He can move on, right? Something tells me that's not the case. Something tells me what that's not going to be the case at all. But yeah, he won. Overall, I thought it was if you're into the sickening, grueling shit, this was up your alley. This was up your alley. And I thought to open the show, yeah, cool. Get the people into the show, right? It looked like the people that were in the building, they seemed to enjoy it, right? So there was that also. After this, we saw Hangman Page versus Brian Keith. I mean, look, this match was short to the point. Literally for no reason went under 10 minutes. But Hangman Page got the win. Here's the thing, right? I don't know how long the bounty will last. I don't know, right? Is the bounty still out there, right? My thing is, if Hangman is going to fight these guys who are going for the bounty that Samoa Joe placed on him, right? You would think that the first guy that Hangman has to go through, it should be quick. Like, all right, you tried, And this is Brian Keith. We have not seen Brian Keith in a hot minute. Unless you watch Collision or maybe he's been placed in Ring of Honor television. I don't know, right? But it's like, now where does Brian Keith go from here? Well, how are we going to follow up with him? What is he going to do next? What will he do next? Is he still going to be with Brian, with Big Bill? I don't know. So, yeah, Hangman got the win. And then Swerve comes out, right? Swerve comes out. And him and Hangman, right? They're calling out MJF, right? For the world title, because they both want the world heavyweight championship, right? And then out of nowhere came out Kenny Omega. Kenny got a big pop. And Omega said that he was also had his eye set on the AEW World Championship. And then Hangman told him that he would not have mercy, but let the best man win out of the three of them. And I think, if you are looking at the world title scene, you got three of the guys right now who we all know who are good, who you want to see challenging for that world title. All three men are former world champions in their own, in their own right. You could do, hey, the triple threat and the winner gets a shot of MJF, or you could do the fatal four-way. You could do the fatal four-way as well if you want to, right? I mean, I don't see why not. But I like the fact that they put this target on the championship and right and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. That was cool. After that, right? After this, right? The Don Callis family showed up, and he called out Omega. He called him out for a match. And who happened to have been chosen by Don Callis in this? None other than the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Now, Omega accepted his challenge for tonight, and we thought we were gonna get the match tonight. Well, last night. If you know what I mean, okay? Okay? And instead, no, Don Callis said the match will take place next week on Dynamite, and it is official. Next week on Dynamite, it will be Kenny Omega going one-on-one with Josh Alexander. It should be a good match. Again, Kenny and Josh. I remember there was like a segment that took place in Impact many years ago. This was when Kenny was the TNA champion, the AEW champion. He was doing the whole belt collector gimmick, right? And there was a segment where he and Josh met backstage. At the time, I think Josh was the tag team or the X Division champion, one or the other. And we thought, hey, we'll get a match from these two guys. And here we are. Here we are now. All these years later, we're getting the match. Should be a good one. Should be a good match. I cannot wait to see it. After this, we saw Brody King, who backstage had a little run-in with John Cruz. I guess because, Bandito and Brody King are partners, right? They're Brodito. And I guess this was John Cruz, who is representing MJF, poking some fun, and it didn't work. The match, honestly, was a quick squash, 37 seconds. If you paid to see Brody King and that's what they gave you, I'd be like, come on, bro. What the fuck? Really? Come on. But that's what happened. That is what happened. After this, we saw the AEW Tag Team Championship #1 contenders match. You had the Don Callis family of Mark Davis and Jake Doyle, the former Jake something from TNA, versus the Young Bucks of Matt and Nick Jackson, versus the Gates of Agonies of Bishop Khan and Toa Leona, and Jet Speed of Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. You did have Ricochet and Don Callis both doing commentary for this. Look, I felt like this could have easily been a 2-on-2 tag team match. I would have rather them do that. But here we are. This is what we got. And hey, we got to get everybody on the show, right? Get everybody on the show. Get everybody on the show. And to be honest, I felt like, you've seen so many of these fatal 4-way tag team matches. Like, you've watched one, you've seen them all. Like, look, guys, the Young Bucks are not the Young Bucks anymore. These guys are like, what? How old are the Young Bucks right now? How old are these guys? How old are these guys right now? How old are they right now? That is the question right now. Hold up here. The Young Bucks. Here we go. Okay, one is 40, one is 36. One is older than me by a year. Okay. Like, you've seen these guys do the same stuff every single week. Every single time they're on TV, it's like, all right, I've seen this before. The same move sets, everything's the same. Like, bro, they've been doing the same shtick now. Granted, they switched it up a little bit, but as far as the move sets and just their style of tag team wrestling, like, bro, it's 2026. This isn't 2013 no more, But when it was all said and done, look, the match itself, it was there. Okay. The match ends with, surprisingly, you have the new team of Jake Doyle and Mark Davis get the win. Right. And after the match, FTR came out and they brawled with Davis and Doyle. Here's my thing on this, right? Here's my thing on this. Who's the heel in this? Who's the babyface? Did I miss something? When did FTR turn babyface? That's what I want to know. What did I miss? Please, someone tell me in the chat or in the comments. After this, but look, it should be a interesting match. By the way, FTR, they will be on Collision on Saturday. They will be. We'll hear from them probably via video package or some shit, But after all this, right? We did see Skyflight cut a promo backstage calling out Marina Shafir and the Don Callis family. You had Zeta Steel, who I guess is the newest member of this faction, calling out Marina Shafir. She threw the "you know me" line at Marina Shafir. I mean, if you watch Collision, I suppose you would care, but yeah, that's the match for Saturday. It will be Skyflight against the Don Callis family of the returning Kyle Fletcher, of who is this? This is the other hologram. This is El Clone, right? El Clone and Josh Alexander. Look, being that Josh Alexander has the match with Kenny Omega, he's probably getting the winning pin for the team. So there's that. Okay. But yeah, that's happening on Saturday. Also on Saturday on Collision, for those that care, it will be Eddie Kingston and Ortiz against the Grizzly Young Veterans. Because why? Fuck it. Why not? You also have on the show Jack Perry, Jungle Jack Perry versus Anthony Bowens. The winner gets a shot at the AEW National Championship. Okay, I need to seriously know what. And look, I love Anthony Bowens. Okay, good dude. Wrestled here in the New Jersey area for years, right? What has he done to get this opportunity to get an opportunity to challenge for at the national championship? What has he done? Last time I checked, he's doing these video skits with Max Caster as they're on the road to reconciliation. So, someone please fill me in on this. Let me know. Let me know. Also on the show, you're gonna get, and I'm sure by this time you already know what's going on, right? You're gonna get, it's Jet Speed and Hangman versus the Ops of Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Gee, I wonder who won that match. I wonder who. And also, on Collision this Saturday, Andrade will be wrestling Angelico. Oh my God, talk about the competition here. The return of Andrade against a tomato can. Now, look, I know how good Angelico is, Lucha Underground legend. But if you're someone out there, let's be honest, if you did not watch Lucha Underground, okay? And I know he was a part of a tag team in the early days of AEW, right? But Angelico now, like, what does he do? Does he wrestle Ring of Honor? Like, he's been relegated to Tomato Can against Andrade, who should beat him in no less than 10 minutes. But let's continue with this. From there, we had the Triangle of Madness of Tekla Sky Blue and Julia Hart versus the Cosmic Babes of Wrath. That'd be Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Harley Cameron. They're all champions. I thought this, for the most part, it was, there, to be honest. I kind of had a feeling who was going to get the win, and I'm glad to see that it happened, right? But for the most part, it was just there. Like, it just sucks that Tony put these women at 9:25 p.m. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? They need to do better. After this, like I mentioned before, I showed the graphic already, but I'm going to show it again. It will be this happening. This will be happening for the Trios Championship. Hangman Page announced that he and Jesby will challenge for the Trios Championship. And then we got the main event. We got MJF going one-on-one with Bandito. Bandito, who won the Casino Gauntlet at Winter is Coming. All right, that's what happened. He won the ring and all that stuff, the Dynamite Diamond ring and all that stuff. And I thought the match was good. I enjoyed the match for what these two guys were able to go out there and do. I did enjoy Bandito's like entrance gear with the sword, right? The other thing too, like the stage was short, right? It was a short stage, like it was those things that connect the stage to the ring, and I hate those. I fucking hate them, right? So a lot of the entrances felt very short. Like if you ever played the TNA game from back in the day, where the wrestlers when they come out to the ring just for like 5 seconds and then the match begins. That's what it felt like, right? But be that as it may, these two guys, they went out there just back and forth. Bandito hit the 21 suplex that he does, right? And again, just a good old back and forth match. But when it was all said and done, MJF retains by making Bandito pass out to the salt of the earth, right? The armbar, the Fuji, or was it the cross? One of the label lock by the label lock. There you go, it was the fucking label lock. And Bandito did not want to tap out of her. He was like flipping him off, and then he passes out. So that's how he went out. And MJF retained, as you guys would have expected. Okay. Keep in mind, this crowd, because they were in Arizona, they were very pro Bandito, right? Eddie was smiling because he did the whole Eddie moveset as well. And then after the match, MJF gets on the mic and he decides to like put over Bandito. Oh, one day you'll be a champion. You're the future of this company. And that's why I have to stop that. And he proceeds to attack him even more. The match is over, but he decides to beat him up a little more. And then he's going to take off the mask, right? The mask of Bandito. And then who happens to make the save? Swerve and Hangman, right? So there was that. That's what stopped it. And that's how we ended the show. That was Dynamite. Overall, Dynamite look. Go back and watch the main event and watch the opening match. Everything else, just whatever. But yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs is officially no longer with AEW. And he'll be potentially on his way to WWE. Also, the Rascalz are making their way soon to AEW. Also, I didn't mention this, but also this Saturday, Megan Bain and Penelope Ford are in action. Penelope Ford is back. Oh boy, oh joy. Can't wait. But that's happening on Saturday. Also on Saturday's Collision, Jet Speed and Hangman versus the Ops for the Trios Tag Team, the Trios Championships. I wonder how this is going to go. Jack Perry and Anthony Bowens will go at it, and the winner gets a shot at the National Championship. You have Eddie Kingston and Ortiz against the Grizzly Young Veterans. We'll hear from FTR. And, of course, you're going to have Skyflight against the Skyflight of Dante Martin, Scorpio Sky, and Darius Martin, I believe that's his name. Yeah, Darius Martin against the Don Callis family of Kyle Fletcher, El Clone, and Josh Alexander. Speaking of Josh Alexander, next Wednesday on Dynamite, he'll be wrestling Kenny Omega. Be some Canadian on Canadian crime. Also, speaking of Elite, Hechicero is all Elite now under a dual contract. Máscara Dorada is now all Elite under a dual contract with CMLL, same as Hechicero, but also Persephone, who is also now under a dual contract with AEW and CMLL. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, your thoughts on AEW Dynamite, or if not, let me know in the comment threads, or if not on social media. If you've not checked out Steve's Kitchen, go give that a watch. I give my thoughts on Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Undisputed Championship on SmackDown the Friday that they were in Berlin in the 3 Stages of Hell match. And I also gave my review of Raw, since Raw aired on Monday at 2 p.m. and I was live after Raw. So I decided to just review Raw there, do, that. I'll be doing the same thing next week as well. All right. And again, guys, later on today, well, in about 40 minutes or so, TNA goes live on AMC. If you're a channel member, you get to watch with us here on the channel. All right. As a family, we won't be going live, but we'll be watching like a family. Okay. And if you want to join us on that, it's only $2.99 a month. All right. So yeah, there you go. There you go with that, guys. You guys know where to find me at. It's at Heel Steven. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. Follow us there as well. All right. And with that being said, guys, for myself, for the gang, this has been Something About Dynamite here on the Around the Point Network. Peace.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.